They called him the Diesel.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo, the Diesel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is Riggo the Diesel. I am John Riggins with you, as I always am on Tuesday afternoons, although you may be checking me out later in the week. I have no idea. Larry Michael's along with me, as he always is, voice of the Washington Redskins for episode 81 or season 2, episode 41. Larry, I noticed that you're in a new location. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually sitting in your seat, John, in the podcast studio, where for what is it, about 76 episodes were taped, I guess. Probably less. I don't want to go there because I'm not going to be able to figure it out. But
that's okay. You're close. You're in the ballpark.
I'm in the 60s or 70s. But, yes, I'm sitting in your seat. Redskins Park, I guess you could say, is open for business, but it's really not open for football business. So some of us, yours truly, we have a studio here. Wanted to get back in the studio, wanted to get back into shooting some stuff around the facility. We have a couple of our camera guys here. No football coaches, no football players, no football. But you have some business people who are here, and a couple front office people are here. And I guess you could say it's the beginning of the return to Redskins Park. But there's a long way to go, and I guess our illustrious compadre there, Todd, gave us some information before we started rolling on this show that some NFL facilities will be open for their coaches and others will be open for mini camp in mid-June. So they're going to keep plowing forward. But I guess what kind of screws this up, Riggo, is your local jurisdictions really govern what's going to happen. So you're in Maryland, I'm in Virginia, and these are two areas, unlike the state of Georgia, that are not open.
Yeah, you bring up something interesting here, Larry, because I thought the whole idea here right now behind the fact that coaches and players can't come back to the facilities was kind of based on fair play. You don't, because some teams, they would have to defy their government's orders to stay at home. And therefore the NFL says we want to keep the playing field level. And I'm kind of confused by that because now you're saying some of the players and coaches will come in. That would mean that I would think then that everybody can come in. Because I don't think at this point in time, unless they've changed their policy, which is always possible, that are they going to allow, say, I don't know, half the teams around the country allow them for their players and coaches to come in and start working as opposed to the other jurisdictions where they're not quite as free and easy on people, the social distancing and all that stuff. Do you have any information on that? Because I also saw something which was interesting, actually, that the New York governor, said that New York State right now still isn't quite open, but it's getting close, which interestingly enough, there are what people would consider 3 New York teams. But in actuality, when it comes down to this, there's only one, Buffalo. So you got the 2 teams over in New Jersey where that's where their facilities are. And so they really wouldn't fall under that umbrella, the New York umbrella, yet they go by that name. But I would kind of think that until it's all clear for all the teams to come back at the same time, I would think the NFL would be reluctant to allow some in and some stay away. But do you know any more about that?
I really don't, other than what Todd told us here. But it does seem to make logical sense if you're talking about right here, right now, today as we tape this. It is May the 26th. So if you're looking at June the 15th, man, that's 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah.
So if you take a look at how things have progressed, even in the state of Virginia, which seems to be lagging behind some of these other states in terms of opening up the businesses. And there's people people have been going to work throughout the quarantine. Everybody really hadn't listened to it. And now you've got a lot of people in states that have opened who are beginning to rebel against social distancing, which I don't buy. I think if you're going to open up, let's do it smart. Let's do it one step at a time. No one wants to see anybody get sick. We sure don't want to go back to a quarantine state, to where you have to be home and they're encouraging everybody to stay home and only go once a week to all these things that we've lived through over the last couple of months. So I would say I'm optimistic. I choose to be optimistic on the football season. June the 15th, even if you get the players in here on June the 15th, how much are you going to be able to accomplish before they go on vacation? I think it'd be great to see the players, however they could work it out, even if it's in shifts to allow for enough distance, because figuring that these guys got to get on the field and get some reps in, John. I'm thinking that some teams are probably off working out by themselves. You might, back in the old days, Joe T would always grab some guys and go throw the ball around when you're not supposed to be practicing. During the strike, right up the road over here too, up in Reston.
Correct.
So I'm kind of thinking that to get the players in here for whatever period of time, then reconvene for training camp, because that's still another 5 weeks after that. So optimistic. We're back at Redskins Park. There's nobody here but us and a couple people, but it is the beginning, and there's protocols that have been put in place. And I think we're going to have to get used to it. We're going to have to get used to getting your temperature checked, depending on where you go. I had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and they made me wait outside. They gave me a mask. They gave me hand sanitizer, and they took my temperature. And that was going into a doctor's office. So I think we better get used to it, but it beats the alternative of being stuck at home and not being able to go out. And we'll just have to keep our eye on what's going on around the country. But you make a good point. I would think, I guess, that the Giants and the Jets have to follow NFL rules, but also have to follow New Jersey protocols, right, I guess, which I never thought of that, but you're right. And the same thing goes for the Washington Redskins. Skins play in Prince George's County, which is one of the hotbeds still right now around the country. So we just have to, again, I'm not smart enough to figure it out, but I feel good about the fact that we're making steps along the way.
I wouldn't feel bad about not being smart enough to figure it out, because I got to be honest with you, Larry, in the entire world, I don't think there's anybody smart enough to figure it out, because it's day to day, and we don't. I mean, that's what I think is getting frustrating and confusing about all this stuff. And I have to say this based on some of the stuff I saw over the weekend, and that is, I saw many pictures, several pictures of people at beaches. And then T-Cat told me this morning before we, when we're doing a little pregame show or chat, he says Ocean City was packed this weekend. I'm starting to think now that we're getting into mob rule almost, to where people are going, I've had enough of this, that it's time to go about our business, and I'm going to roll the dice. And you can look at that a couple different ways, because you got people that are saying, well, you're infringing on my rights as an American, constitutional right. And there's an argument there. But at the same time, people that follow that line of thinking, then they're really being pretty self-centered, because they're saying, I want to do what I want to do, and to hell with you. If I happen to be contagious and give you something, I'm really not that concerned about it. And I tell you, this is such a strange place to be, even though for me, it hasn't really altered my lifestyle all that much. For a lot of people, you in particular, you've been going to the park every day for the last, 15 years, whatever it is. And now all of a sudden you've been at home for 2 weeks in the middle of a time when you're used to watching practices, OTAs and all that. So it has to be different for a lot of people. But having been, for the average person, but the other day I go down into the park, because I live right here on the what do you call it, Potomac River, which is a C&O National Park or whatever it's called. And I'm down there and I'm seeing, which I didn't see this, 4 weeks ago, but almost everybody on the canal path had a mask on. And I'm down there without a mask, because I'm thinking, well, I'm outside and I'm good. But it's the weirdest feeling. But I was going to walk, kind of bushwhack. I wasn't going to stay on the towpath. I was going to get into the timber, but I kind of felt like I was somewhat of an intruder, if you will, because I didn't have a mask, and yet I didn't feel like I really needed one because I wasn't around anybody. But now it's so weird how it's kind of come full circle that we live in right now today. If you go outside and you go to any business, I think for the most part, a lot of them, particularly around here, if you don't have a mask and gloves on, they'll turn you around and send you back out the door.
Ain't that the truth?
And that's what I'm saying about, I think there's really people have been listening to all the experts, and then 2 weeks into it, you find out, well, that isn't exactly right, but we found some new information. And, and so I think at a certain point, it's almost like, what do you call it, the little boy who cried wolf. After a while, people go, hey, I don't know. I think I'm going to roll the dice and take my chances. And I got to tell you, that's kind of the way I feel. And then, you see a former teammate of yours like Dexter, who ends up in the hospital, who we're happy to report would seem to be progressing very well right now and very well may be able to get out of the hospital by the end of the week. And really, I don't believe was really seriously stricken because I don't think he was ever intubated or, given a, what do they call it, the respirator. But, when you think of that and, that reality grips you that, well, there's no guarantee for anybody who might contract this virus as to how it's going to turn out for them. So we live in a constant state of flux, it would seem to me. But the one thing I will end on, and then we'll take a break here, is that the owner of the Miami Dolphins, Stephen Ross, he said today or yesterday that he believes the NFL season will go on as scheduled. And the only question really is, and when I say it, in other words, they're not going to skip a beat. Now, of course, like anything else, it can change. But the big question is, will there be fans? Will there be fans allowed to come to the game? So right now, I would say everything's kind of starting to move back into a position more of normalcy. And I noticed that based on the way things are opening up, I think today in the Wall Street Journal, they were saying stocks were back on the uptick based on they don't think that this is going to be such the economic clout obviously is bad, but maybe not as bad as it was anticipated. So anyway, we'll take a break.
Did you know that your Washington Redskins are sponsored by Koch Industries? That's Koch, Koch. Their 67,000 U.S. employees make a lot of things that make game day better. Greener turf? They make that. Stronger paper products for tailgating. They make that. Oh, and electric components in TVs and smart devices so you can watch the Redskins anywhere. Yeah, Koch makes that too. See all they make for on and off the field at kochmakesthat.com. You're ready to drive again. Enjoy the open road with confidence and powerful performance of a new Honda. From stylish turbocharged sedans like the Accord and Civic to rugged all-wheel drive SUVs like the CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, and Passport. With safety features like Honda Sensing, including a collision mitigation braking system, adaptive cruise control, Honda Lane Watch, and more. Get a great deal on your favorite Honda. Contact your local Honda dealer for more information or visit WashingtonAreaHondaDealers.com. John?
I got a little message for everybody. As obviously you can see, O'Connor Plumbing. And next week, if you don't like the fact that I wore a hat today, I will be happy to go with the light socket hair that I had last week. Anyway, we all know money's going to be tight in the near future, and you can't wait when you have a plumbing problem. So what's O'Connor Plumbing going to do for you? No payments for 6 months on all services. Get quick on-the-spot credit approval. Convert to a long-term 120-month low-rate APR loan afterwards, plus waive diagnostic fees and 10% off on all services. Don't neglect your plumbing. It's the heart of your house. Call O'Connor Plumbing at 1-833-RIGGO-44.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand back and watch the Phoenix rise from the ashes.
Stand back. It's Riggo the Diesel.
All right, well, Larry, we did finally, I guess there's been some entertainment on television, and I don't know if you happen to watch the golf. I'm not a golfer. I'm not really interested in golf, but if you'd have told me how it was going to turn out, I might have been able to sit through it, because the golf tournament that was, I guess, a charity event between Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady was aired, on Sunday? Is that when they had it?
On Sunday, 3 o'clock.
Did you happen to watch it?
I watched, I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I missed Tom Brady's eagle, and I missed Tom Brady ripping his pants, which was, as soon as that all happened, I told my wife, I said, well, that's your highlight. You're going to see that tomorrow morning 100 times, and we did. But it was good. I thought the best part of it, John, was with cameras on the carts, and the fact these guys were mic'd up and wired up, and Charles Barkley was talking to them during the whole thing. They were talking smack. It put these guys in a very, very likable position. I thought shows you how they're real guys, regular guys. I mean, Tiger Woods was carrying his own clubs out of his car, which, Todd Castleberry gets his clubs carried for him, John. He never carries his own clubs. Todd Castleberry. He's always got somebody. He's got a guy who carries his clubs everywhere he goes. Wipes off his clubs for him. He's got a guy who does everything for him. Tiger Woods was carrying.
That's a valet.
Tiger Woods, what, Todd?
I said, I have a valet. Larry doesn't know I have a valet. It's not a caddy. It's a valet.
It's a valet. So that's on and off the golf course. You have help. Put it that way. You got help on and off the golf course. But it showed how these guys were real guys. And Tiger Woods, one of the greatest. I personally do not put him number one. I'm sorry, I cannot do that because there's a guy named Jack Nicklaus who's won more major championships than Tiger Woods. Jack Nicklaus won his last major at the age of 47, right, Todd?
Thought it was 46, but I'll work.
46, but who's counting? 46, and it was the Masters. And he's got more championships than Tiger. Jack Nicklaus, to me, is the greatest golfer of all time. Unless Tiger passes him, he still might. But nonetheless, 4 huge athletes, big-name personas, and when they hold up a $20 million check, boy, that's strong. That's really strong.
Something I just thought of, excuse me, please, while you were talking, I thought you got Tiger Woods, you got Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, in all honesty, Phil Mickelson.
Yeah,
What's he done for us lately? I mean, when
Jack was busy. Jack Nicklaus was busy.
I mean, in all honesty, nothing against Phil, but when you look at accomplishments, I mean, he's won a few major tournaments. But
wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Peyton Manning has 2 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, and so interesting enough about it though, one with 2 different teams. Now, you don't make the argument. It wasn't exactly like he led the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl and came through big.
But you could say, like I just said, I didn't think Tiger Woods the greatest of all time, but that's debatable. But he's certainly in the top 1 or 2. I don't believe Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, but he's got 6 Super Bowls, right? I mean, he's got so many. He's in that conversation. So those 2 guys kind of cancel each other off. Is Phil Mickelson the Peyton Manning of golf? In terms of no.
I don't think so. I don't know. What? I tell you what, Larry, when it comes down to a lot of this stuff, it's funny we're talking about it. It really gets down to branding, how people think about this. I mean, when a guy comes out of college, at least in football, and he's a well-known college player and he has success in the NFL, in other words, he already has a brand. I'll tell you who it'll be, which will surprise nobody, but it will put him on the path towards true superstar greatness, greatest of all time, is the kid they just drafted from Ohio State. He's the number one defensive
Chase Young.
Chase Young. And everybody's anticipating him being great. And once he fulfills that, it's just he's going to have another player who may come out at the same time, statistically be right there with him. But because he wasn't, he comes out and say, Alcorn A&I or pick a school. But not everybody, or the University of Kansas for that matter. I mean, something as obscure as that. I think that gives everybody, a little bit of a leg up. Now, Woods, on the other hand, is a guy, he pretty much did it on his own. He came. When you get into golf, that's a different ball game because there is no, what do you want to call it, minor leagues for golf, so to speak. You get there, finally you earn, I guess, your right to play in the PGA, and you make it on your own. That's the interesting thing about golf and, say, in a boxing ring. Once you get out there in the ring, once you get on a golf course, that's mano-a-mano type stuff. In team sports, it's a little bit different. You've got other people out there supposedly helping you. I would have to say that personally, I don't know. Todd, do you know off the top of your head how many majors Phil Mickelson's won? I'll bet you it's less than 5. 5 or less.
Well, first off, Phil, and certain players in certain eras, they said he happened to be born in the same time that Tiger Woods. Right. He's the second best golfer for that time period in that stretch, for sure.
So he got branded by being the foil to Tiger Woods. Right.
He has lost and he has lost more U.S. Opens and championships based on the way he plays the game. Still elite by far. And he actually was the most entertaining of the foursome that played in this match yesterday. So Larry, I was talking to John about this relative to knowing he's not a big golfer, but knowing how John's feelings for quarterbacks and Tom Brady, and it was schadenfreude watching him struggle.
Yeah.
And they was chunking some. I mean, he was chili dipping balls, Todd. We've seen that.
Yeah, and the way he was hitting shots that we can relate to, you see the Golden Boy, and Twitter was just a buzz. I mean, it was.
Oh, man. So really, though, you know, he did it for the charity, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Larry,
but have you seen Mike Tyson warming up?
Larry, you stop that right there. He doesn't
he
care.
Didn't. Come on. He didn't care. He laughed it off.
He's still drunk. He's still drunk, Larry.
Well, hey, I can't blame him for that.
He can't believe it. Huh?
I can't blame him for that. He's probably in Florida working out with his team somewhere behind closed doors. Who knows? But
you know what I like about Riggo? How Riggo will slyly set you up, because when he kept saying about, you want to bet how many majors Mickelson's won, I kind of knew he knew the answer, and it's 5.
I didn't know the answer, but I knew
5 isn't bad.
I knew it wasn't very many.
It's 5 majors, 44 tour wins, 9th all time.
Well, he's better than Greg Norman.
Oh, by miles.
Well,
that's better than Greg Norman.
Greg's a hell of a businessman and a decent golfer, but he's a better businessman than he is a golfer. Sure, I think that's fair to say.
All right, one more break, and we're going to talk about rings.
We got to do that.
You know, from the classroom to the sidelines, from the chalkboard to the vocabulary words, whether you're a pro football coach or Mrs. Johnson at George Mason High School, the Washington Redskins believe in the power of great teachers. That's why we're partnering with youth entrepreneurs to bring DC teachers the resources they deserve. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, Youth Entrepreneurs has launched Teach Everywhere, a place for teachers to call home while adjusting to teaching at home. The resource contains distant learning activities, resources and tools, and a series of webinars from expert educators. Visit teacheverywhere.org to learn more. And 75 tons of game day trash and recyclables need to find a home. So, when the final whistle blows, our team hits the field. As an official partner of the Washington Redskins, RTS is connecting FedEx Field with smarter waste solutions to ensure a more sustainable and responsible approach to what's left behind at the end of a game. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com. And stay up to the minute with all the Redskins news this offseason. Download the official Washington Redskins mobile app. Geographic and device restrictions apply. Data charges may apply.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
They left the scoreboard out there. I remember seeing Redskins 27, Dolphins 17. And it was that moment of truth where I went, damn, I'm a world champion.
John, when he walked, he had a little bop to him. And besides that, he had the booty out there. They nicknamed him Chocolate Chip.
Story time with Riggo.
I'm sure you're aware, just because you just teased this, that I think it was last night or the day before, I think that the Washington Nationals were handed out their World Series rings. And
were they handing them out? Were they handing them out? I think they changed. They unveiled them. They unveiled.
Okay. Well, I meant that figuratively, because I guess I assume that they will. Well, it makes you wonder if they'll even have a ceremony. You know, talking about this, I'm still a little upset. Not only did I miss the parade the day after the Super Bowl, but I missed it when they handed the rings out when the team won Super Bowl 17 out at Redskins Park. So now I'm wondering if they'll have actually a ring ceremony where they hand out their rings, but, you know, based on the way things are. But anyway, I want to get to the ring. Go ahead.
Well, I know why you missed the parade, because you've told me that story. Yes. Why did you miss the ring ceremony?
Well, because I was back in Kansas, and I don't think it was kind of like the parade. Nobody told me that they were. Maybe there was a reason, unknowns to me, that I missed the parade. They didn't want me there.
Well, they didn't know what to. Back then, you were the guy expect the unexpected from, I guess you could say. So
exactly, and that's what they didn't want, was the unexpected.
Yeah, they wanted to control the atmosphere. Yeah.
Now, I was going to say, the new rings, I've never seen anything quite like this, and I haven't seen. I mean, there's, what do you call them? You got your NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, of course, and then NFL. And I don't know. I'm wondering if the contemporary other sports, NFL, NBA, and NHL, I'm wondering if their rings are along the same lines, because this is a completely different kind of a ring. There are no, what I saw of this ring, there are no large diamonds on it, but there's 130 small diamonds, which I'm sure I could take this ring, pull the diamonds off, and the quality of these diamonds, I could put them on my saw downstairs and probably, saw some metal with it, because, they're not, I would say they're not exactly flawless diamonds, if I'm not mistaken. But, I mean, who am I to say? The other part of this is that rings, when I remember, the first Super Bowl, well, the only Super Bowl ring I have, and the size of it, and then I compared it, I think I saw Joe Jacoby's when they got, won that third Super Bowl. Like I tell people, you could land a Black Hawk helicopter on that last one that they have. It's so big. And if you compare all these to the original Super Bowl ring, I believe that the Green Bay Packers got, it just seems like every year it gets bigger and bigger and more gaudy. I don't know what to make out of it. I can't tell if the new rings that they hand out nowadays, if that's something that you go, wow, that's a good, from an artist standpoint, or a jeweler standpoint, wow, that's really a beautiful ring. Or they go, whoa, that's a little gaudy, isn't it?
It's unwearable. It's unwearable. I mean, I see all our Super Bowl winners like yourself and all the guys that got the rings, and they got them and they're proud, and people see them. Oh, now, I mean, you couldn't put more than one ring on there. That hand is going to be weighed down. It's such a big piece of jewelry.
Right.
But I guess every year you're right. It gets bigger and bigger and gaudier. And how can you top last year? How about the Patriots? I'd love to see the evolution of their rings. Because the one now, I mean, that's got to be, that's got to weigh 5 pounds, for crying out loud.
I think I've seen, but this is in the WWE, so take it for what it's worth. But I think when you win whatever it is in that, because I saw one at a USO event this past fall, Mark Mosley and I was down there, and the WWE has a relationship with the USO, so they had one of their wrestlers down there. And he had a ring that somebody, was able to wear for whatever, but I don't know why they'd even wear it, because I think it was a 2-fingered ring. Give you an idea. Have you ever seen a 2-fingered ring? I mean, the last time I saw those was a guy, he was wearing a black leather jacket, and they were called brass knuckles.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I think there might be some rappers now that wear those.
Well, and that would make sense. WWE would definitely be right in there with that group. But
wow.
The rings today, I mean, they're fine, but I've always felt like my feelings on that to a certain extent is because they are, when you're sitting there in a conversation with a lot of people, most people can't help but noticing that ring at some point in time. And naturally then, it's almost like you might as well hold up a sign that says, yes, I played in a Super Bowl. Yes, I'm a world champion. Yes, I'm a World Series MVP, whatever it is. Because when you put the ring on, I mean, I'll do it when I go to like a black tie event or something, where it's, the generals, they've got all the campaign ribbons and all this stuff and medals. So I figured, okay, that's a place you wear it. But to wear it every day, I'm kind of going, I don't know. That's kind of like a little bit too much advertising for me, but that's just me. So I can't.
Well, you don't need the advertising. All you got to do is walk in the room and they know you're the Super Bowl MVP. You don't need a ring.
That's because I tell them. That's because I tell them when I
you
walk
don't need
in.
a ring to say on that.
That's
hey,
true.
John, we got to get you back over here. I don't know when the prospect of you, of them allowing you back in here, but we'll see, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking about it here as we wrap it up, and it's been over 2 months now, right? It's been, it's more about 2 months and about a week or two. So we're looking at maybe more than 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's over 8 weeks.
Probably about 9 or 10 weeks. And so hopefully, I know in Virginia, some things are going to open next week. And then there's going to be a week after that, other things are going to open. I saw where the District of Columbia has had 12 straight days of downward trends, which they said they needed 2 weeks, and then they'll start opening up. So we just hope that that's the step to us getting back together and being able to do this in person. I think we've made it work, and I think we've done a good job with these virtual Zoom podcasts, but nothing like having us together, doing our thing in a room.
I agree with that. Let me ask you this, though. We do get together. Are we going to have to wear masks on the show?
Yeah, but it's kind of hard, John, to do this, because Get your mask on there.
Listen,
you see that?
You don't have to wear a mask. I will, because
So, but what bothers me, you were talking about this earlier about people wearing masks and not wearing masks. Have you seen people driving around by themselves in their car with their mask on?
Yes, I've seen that too.
What purpose does that serve?
I don't know. Maybe the car insists because the car doesn't want to get sick. I don't know. It won't start. I got no clue. Put your mask on or I'm not starting. I got no clue on that. Hey, Cat, you got a clue? Cat's over and out.
Nothing.
Well, hey.
All right, Larry. Shall we wrap it up?
I think we wrap it up, and we enjoy a beautiful day, and we'll do it again next week.
Very good. See you all. Thank you.
Even though COVID-19 poses an unprecedented challenge, you can count on Novak to deliver reliable power and to help in other ways. Novak.com offers tips to save energy while spending more time at home. Novak customers can monitor their energy use online, as well as pay bills through the website or by phone. And anyone can donate to help neighbors in need through Operation Roundup. Novak, power you can count on.
The Department of Veterans Affairs has the honor of providing care to those who have served this country in uniform. Today, the VA is on the front lines of the battle against the coronavirus, and we need your help. We are looking for medical professionals at every level. I hope that you will consider joining our team, either temporarily or permanently. To learn more, go to va.gov/join us.